All right, today we are digging into a surprisingly complicated agricultural mystery. Why do so many carrots never actually make it to the grocery store? The answer, it turns out, reveals a hidden battle that's happening just beneath the surface of the soil. I mean, you've seen them, right? You pull one from your garden or maybe see the reject pile at a farmer's market, and you just have to ask, what happened here? What went so wrong that this carrot ended up with two legs, and that one looks like it just shattered? These are the main culprits in our little investigation. You've got cracked carrots, forked ones, sometimes they call them horned, hairy ones with a whole beard of tiny roots, and of course, bitter ones. And these aren't just, cosmetic quirks. For farmers, this is a huge, huge financial problem. And that gets us to what is really the central paradox in carrot farming. It turns out success isn't about growing the most carrots, it's about growing the most perfect ones. Think about it. A farmer can have a field that is absolutely overflowing with carrots, but if a big chunk of them are cracked or twisted, they get rejected. You can't sell them fresh, you can't store them. Only the pristine, perfect-looking carrots actually make any money. Everything else is basically a loss. So if these defects are so expensive, what's really causing them? Well, it's time to do a little forensic work on these failed crops. And the real culprit here, it's probably not what you'd expect. And there it is. That's the key. The culprit isn't a bug, it's not a blight, it's the soil itself. The carrot is having a physical reaction, a total stress response to a hostile environment. So our investigation points to two major soil problems. First, there's cracking, which is caused by something called hydrological shock. And second, you've got deformation, the forked and twisted carrots, and that's caused by mechanical resistance. Let's break down what those terms actually mean. So, hydrological shock. What is that? Well, imagine the carrot is really thirsty. During a dry spell, its outer skin gets a little tough, a little less stretchy. Then, all of a sudden, a massive downpour hits. The inside of the carrot just gulps up all that water and swells up super fast. But that tough outer layer, it can't keep up, it can't stretch, and pop! It just cracks right open under the pressure. And what about mechanical resistance? This one's a little more intuitive. As the carrot's main root is pushing down, trying to grow, it hits a roadblock, a rock, a hard clump of clay. Its little sensitive growing tip gets damaged. So the plant's response is to fire up its side roots to try and go around the obstacle. And that's what gives you that classic forked, horned look. But the stress doesn't even stop there. That hairiness you see sometimes? That's the carrot desperately sending out a huge net of tiny roots, just trying to find any little drop of water it can. And the bitter taste? Well, that's the carrot producing stress compounds, and it's a direct result of that same inconsistent watering. So, we've diagnosed the issue. The soil is unstable, it's hostile. So what's the solution? Well, this is where things get really clever. We're not just going to treat the symptoms, we're going to engineer a whole new environment for the carrot to grow in. So let's meet the hero of our story, an agrogel called Hydrosvet. It's a high-tech, super-absorbent polymer, and it's designed to do one thing and one thing only: fix the nasty soil conditions that ruin carrots. Just how super-absorbent are we talking? Well, get this. These tiny little granules can absorb and hold on to 500 times their own weight in water. Each one basically becomes a tiny personal reservoir for the plant. But holding water is one thing. Giving it back is what really counts. And an incredible 97% of that stored water is available to the plant's roots whenever they need it. It's like having water on tap. Now, this all works because of a really smart dual action system. First, it's that water reservoir, right? It creates a moisture buffer that totally eliminates hydrological shock. But second, as those granules swell up with water and then shrink back down, they act like a constant microplow, loosening up dense soil and clearing the way for the carrot to grow straight and smooth. Okay, so the science here is pretty impressive. But what does it actually mean for the farmer's bottom line? Let's connect these dots. From a healthy soil environment all the way to a profitable harvest. And this is the real payoff. Remember our list of carrot defects from the beginning? Let's just check them off. Cracking? Gone, because there are no more extreme moisture swings. Deformation? Nope, that's gone too, thanks to the microplowing effect. Hairiness and bitterness? Well, those are just symptoms of water stress, and that stress has been completely removed. It is a systematic takedown of every single problem. And the end result is exactly what the market wants. you get, and I'm quoting here, even, smooth root crops without cracks or deformations. That's what happens when you just give the plant the stable, comfortable home it needs to thrive. And this isn't just guesswork, it's applied science. The amount of gel you use is actually tailored to the specific type of soil you have. In light, sandy soil, you'll use a bit more to really hold on to that water. But in heavy clay, you use a little less, and the main focus is on its power to loosen up the structure. And maybe the best part of all is that this isn't a short-term fix you have to do every year. One single application of this agrogel keeps working its magic in the soil for up to 5 years. It's not just another seasonal expense, it's a real long-term investment in the quality and the health of the soil itself. This whole story really leaves us with a fascinating question, doesn't it? We so often think about farming as this big battle against things we can see, weeds, pests, diseases. But what if the real frontier for agriculture, the biggest challenge, isn't fighting what's above the ground, but engineering the complex, hidden world right beneath our feet?